Hey, how's it going, guys? It is Blake here from the avidentruths.com, back again with more Shadows Before Dawn. Sorry, it's been a week, I think, since the last upload, but we're back today with tool number 16. One thing I want to touch on quickly before I start this one is that this week I will be doing a recording of these. I think pretty much I'll do one tool every single night is my plan for this week. This week only. I'm not quite sure how long that's gonna, or how far that's gonna carry us through the rest of the book, but it should be a decent amount of length. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing that this week only. We're gonna kind of just wrap up this a little bit. So yeah, there will be at least 3 or 4 uploads this week for sure, I will say. I might save some for next week, but yeah, we're gonna be sort of speeding through the rest of this, though. You know, definitely take the time to take in the tools. You don't have to watch the remaining parts, you know, as they're uploaded. Just take your time and sort of take in what the messages of the tool or the chapter. But anyway, we're going to do tool number 16 today, which is no more trips to the hardware store. Alright, so first section, searching endlessly. While sitting in the common area of the university in 2006, I ended up across from an older gentleman who was reading a newspaper. Being the curious person that I am, I did what I usually do when I find myself sitting in that awkward silence between strangers who are right near each other. I struck up a conversation with him. It was during this conversation that this man told me something I will never forget. This was one of those triggered realizations you find afterward that you can't keep living your life the same way you used to. As we chatted casually and I responded to his questions, I found myself detailing to him the complicated romantic, familial, and friendship relationships I was maintaining at the time. He listened and then said to me in a quiet sort of way, "It seems like you're going to the hardware store for milk." Our conversation ended with hugs a short time after that, but I remained in an introspective version of shock for a good hour after the interaction. I still don't know the name of the man I met that day, but what he told me with that one sentence has become a hallmark of my teachings on self-love. Up to that point, I never gave much thought to hardware stores, but I do now. You see, when we don't love ourselves, we don't allow ourselves to look for the things we need and want in the places where we can actually find them. Instead, we keep trying to make the current people, places, and things in our lives give us what we want. The trouble is that they're never going to do it. It's as if we are walking into a hardware store and asking them to give us milk, and every day the clerk tells us that they don't carry milk. Every day we leave the store sad and deprived of milk, but we still return the next day. We tend to stay stuck in this pattern until we realize the hardware store is never going to carry milk. It's only when we realize and accept this fact that we allow ourselves to go find a store that does sell milk. As you can tell, the milk in this analogy represents love. When we do not love ourselves, we continually try to get our current relationships to give us the love we need and want, but they never will. This is because our current relationships are just projections of the internal relationship we have with ourselves. They are projections of our current non-loving state. For the people around us to reflect love when we are not in a loving state ourselves defies the laws of this universe. Our current negative feeling relationships might lack love, but they serve as an important contrast because they show us what we do truly want, and that is love. However, all too often, once we know that we want love, we then turn around and expect the contrast in our lives, the non-loving relationships, to magically transform from lack into love. Interesting. When we are meant to allow ourselves to go get that love from someone who actually offers love, but we have to realize where to look and how to go about it properly. It is not selfish to seek love. We all crave it and need it. In fact, the act of allowing yourselves to go find love from people who are actually offering love is a self-loving act. Once you come to this realization, you will really benefit from this self-loving act. It changes your relationship with yourself, and in turn, you will find that you actually will connect with people who can offer you love. Next section. Hardware stores only sell hammers. To take this analogy to the next level, you will find that going to the hardware store for milk is what we are doing anytime we are looking in the wrong places for the things we need. We are going to the hardware store for milk if we hate our job, but keep trying to get our boss to change things at the office so we will like it better. We are going to the hardware store for milk when we repeatedly try to fix an item that isn't fixable, instead of buying something new. We are going to the hardware store for milk when we keep trying to rely on friends who have demonstrated again and again that they are flaky, but we still become disappointed when they continue to be flaky. It happens at home, too. You might find yourself going to the hardware store for milk if you're a homosexual and keep trying to get your family to accept you when they won't. You might keep trying to get your mother or father to understand that you hold a specific belief, a specific important belief, but they just don't get it. And if you're a woman, you're going to the hardware store for milk when you stay in an abusive relationship with a man, hoping that one day he will miraculously decide not to hit you anymore. It's the same for abusive partners of any kind. In these many, many ways, we are going to the hardware store for milk whenever we wait for someone else to give us love instead of giving it to ourselves. So how do you break out of this endless search? Start by examining your life. Are there ways in which you expect other people, things, or circumstances to change into what you want them to be, instead of just allowing yourself to go find other people, things, and circumstances that already are what you want them to be? I need to reread that. Are there ways in which you expect other people, things, or circumstances to change into what you want them to be, instead of allowing yourself to go find other people, things, and circumstances that you already are what you want them to be, that already are what you want them to be? Try to be as honest with yourself as possible and identify the ways that you tend to go to the wrong places to meet your friends. Ask yourself where you really should be looking instead, and then go to the right place. Let yourself go find milk where milk is sold. Let yourself find a new job that you love. Let yourself gain a network of friends who are like family to you and who fully accept you for being gay. Let yourself retire that old item you've been trying to fix and buy a new one. And most important, give yourself the love that you have wanted so badly to receive from others. Next section, outlining our basic human needs. When it comes to giving ourselves the love that we want so badly to receive from others, nothing is more important than learning the right ways to meet our needs. No matter what race, sex, or religion we are, no matter where we are born, or how we are raised, as humans we all have 6 basic needs. The word need implies the not having of something, so it's not a preferable word to use, but I'm using it for the sake of this book because for most humans the word desire means something that is wanted, but something that we can do without. In truth, we cannot do without our desires either, so our desires are also needs. But I want to be clear that we are talking about things that are absolutely necessary for a human to live a happy, healthy life, and therefore the word most people associate with necessity is need. So, sorry about that. Our happiness depends on our ability to meet our needs and get those needs met in healthy ways. Our perceived powerlessness to meet those needs in healthy ways is what creates the kind of love called painful attachment. It prevents us from developing a truer form of love that is unconditional and is free from painful attachment. You could think of resistance as a component of that painful attachment. The English language limits us to only one word to represent and describe a plethora of different states involving our connection to others. That one word is love. But there are many different states we call love that do not actually reflect unconditional universal love. It's important to know up front that not everything you identify as love is actually love. Interesting. Interesting to finally hear that be said, honestly. I feel that. As an avid student of human nature, in one of the courses that I took, I learned about the basic concept of human needs psychology, which I have come to understand was originally pioneered by Anthony Robbins and Chloe and Madanes. This is an especially important concept to grasp because you will need it to understand what is to follow and how the 6 basic human needs fit into the bigger picture of love. The six needs are certainty, variety, significance, love, expansion, and contribution. We all have different ways of meeting these needs. We meet them in both conscious and subconscious ways. Naturally, we feel more confident about meeting some of these needs. Than others, but it's important to understand that we meet these needs in both healthy and unhealthy ways. To explain what I mean, after I define each of these needs, I will talk about some healthy and unhealthy ways that we can meet each of them. Seeking certainty. Certainty is our most primary human need, and it can be called the survival need. It represents our need to be certain that we can avoid pain and gain pleasure. It's the need for safety, stability, comfort, and unlimited resources that we can rely on. Some positive ways we can seek certainty is to create healthy routines, develop belief systems that serve us, choose partners who enhance our feelings of security, and develop consistency in our lives. When we meet our need for certainty by developing beliefs in our own control over our reality, developing a positive identity, and engaging in activities we already know we like, it is also good to gain information and knowledge, be organized, and expect positive behaviors from ourselves. Being optimistic in our point of view is also important if we want to feel more certainty in life. As for the unhealthy ways to seek certainty, there are many of them. Becoming obsessive compulsive is one way. You may also demand that other people provide certainty for you when they don't want to. You might turn to destructive activities in your search for certainty, including eating disorders, cutting, developing a negative identity, expecting negative behaviors from yourself, becoming controlling of other people and things, and becoming obsessive in preparing for the worst atrocities such as rape, murder, or war. As you can see, these unhealthy ways don't work well and are in no way loving. Ultimately, these behaviors will not give you the right kind of certainty, the kind you need. So back up a few paragraphs to see which of the healthy ways you can begin to use instead. Okay. Seeking variety. Variety is the need for change, challenge, excitement, and stimulus. Some could argue that it's paradoxical to the need for certainty, some could argue that it's paradoxical to the need for certainty, and that it implies that we need a certain amount of uncertainty in order to be happy with our lives. There are many fun and effective ways to find variety, such as learning new things, trying new foods, traveling, finding new hobbies or passions, engaging in stimulating conversations, or watching movies you've never seen before. You might also enjoy playing games or sports, reading new books, meeting new people, and finding new challenges around you that you would like to conquer. Of course, there are just as many unhealthy ways to seek variety, and I would caution you against them. You might take on risky or high adrenaline activities, abuse alcohol or drugs, or engage in activities that sabotage yourself, such as picking fights with significant others when you feel bored or cheating while in a monogamous relationship. Obviously, waging war with anyone, including yourself, would provide variety, but in a destructive way. Instead, find ways to seek out variety in healthy ways that don't hurt you, anyone else, any animals, or the planet. Seeking significance. Our search for significance deals with the fact that we need purpose, importance, and meaning in our lives. It's the need to be special and worthy of attention. Often this is called the need for esteem. Some healthy ways to find significance are to develop a positive identity, allow your uniqueness to be expressed to the world, and accomplish your goals. Try to develop a unique sense of style and adopt belief systems that reflect your importance. Develop a sense of purpose and seek out meaning for your life and for your own existence. Allow yourself to get noticed and earn distinction in healthy ways. There are many unhealthy routes to take that you think might add to your significance, but if you are hurting yourself or anyone else, you need to change your tactics. Tearing other people down or committing violent acts such as rape, murder, or war might get you attention, but these are hugely unhealthy. Other unhealthy ways would be to use other people to gain social status or lie in order to seem more impressive. Some people think that developing a negative identity or attaching themselves too strongly to a negative diagnosis that they are given might raise their level of significance, but these unhealthy methods are not the way to go. Seeking love. When we are discussing our basic needs, love is the need for a connection with others. It's the need for a sense of being a part of something. It's a need for a sense of belonging, the need for oneness, and the need to be loved as well as to love others. Our need for intimacy also falls under this category. Seeking love in healthy ways can come through sharing, intimacy, openness, and developing compassion. You could become a part of an organization, team, or group that is healthy, or you might like to spend time in nature. Other positive activities include cultivating an understanding and recognition of oneness, of healthy sex, and of healthy physical affection. You can exchange gifts, express words of love towards yourself and others, or perform acts of service to others, such as spending quality time with them, caring for pets, connecting with yourself, and developing spirituality are other healthy ways to enhance the love in your life. As for unhealthy ways, you may know some of them. Self-sacrificing, joining gangs, or engaging in unhealthy sexual interactions are just a few. You might seek out pity by being sick or having problems consistently. Some people become accident prone so that others will pay attention to them. We sometimes go overboard on people pleasing and rescuing others as they cry for love. We may also cause others to feel as if they need us, and of course there are no kinds of violent acts such as rape, murder, or war that will get you the love you crave and need. Seeking expansion. Expansion is the need to grow and develop, find fulfillment, and self-actualize. Expansion can be found by taking on healthy challenges, learning new things, improving upon your current situation, and following your bliss. You can develop new ways to approach problems so that they benefit your growth, and you can also expand by listening to other people's thoughts and taking what serves you from what they say. Unhealthy ways to seek expansion would be to push yourself too hard and never take the path of least resistance. You might seek out unhealthy challenges and only learn things the hard way. You will not expand if you are unable to listen to other people, or if you let things get to the breaking point before you improve them. Okay, that's interesting. Seeking contribution. Contribution is the human need to contribute to that which is beyond you. It represents the need to give and to provide something of value outward toward other people, the world, and the universe at large. Healthy ways to secure this need could be to do random acts of kindness or become a part of something you believe in. Let your gifts express themselves to this world and help others because it feels good to do so. Develop an inspired vision for improving this world and act upon it. Focus on solutions and join causes that carry out a solution. Give to others just because it brings you joy to give. Unhealthy ways to meet the need of contribution would be to act in negative ways toward yourself and the world, focusing only on problems and joining causes that perpetuate the problem, such as through violence and fighting. Next section, the who and how of meeting your needs. These are just some of the ways that we meet our 6 needs. Everything you ever do, whether it's ultimately beneficial or detrimental, you do only for one reason, because you think it will meet one or more of your 6 basic needs. Meeting these needs is what gives rise to the sensation of happiness. That's why we can also say that the only reason anyone does anything is because they think it will add to their happiness. It's crucial to our happiness that we meet every one of these 6 needs. Contrary to popular opinion, the goal is not to rid ourselves of these needs, but rather to find out how to provide those needs for ourselves. Providing those needs for ourselves also entails finding people whose joy is genuinely satisfied by providing us with those needs that we can't or don't want to meet for ourselves. It's a travesty that humans try to force themselves to not need what they need. Indeed, the basis of many world religions is the individual quest to reach a state where we no longer have desires or needs. We come up with this idea that desires and needs are the root of suffering, only when we feel incapable of meeting those desires and needs. Along the way, everything that other people do affects you because everything that you do affects you. But by reorienting your focus towards something positive, you can create what you want to create regardless of what people around you are doing or not doing. You are only as powerless to what other people create as you are only as powerless to what other people create as you are to what you create. The perspective that other people are bigger and more powerful than you is an illusion, especially when you realize that they are nothing more than your reflection blown up to a world scale. The collective is moving on a continuum away from utter powerlessness at one end, progressing to independence, and beyond that to interdependence. We are constantly told by advocates of independent self-sufficiency that it's not appropriate to try to fulfill ourselves through other people, that it's not okay to try to use people to fill the void within ourselves. This group feels that every need should be filled by oneself and only by oneself, but this view is based on the assumption that other people are separate from you, and this is not really true. We are all one, so in fact everyone around you is part of you. Therefore, if you use others to fill the void within you, you are in fact using part of yourself to fill the void within you. We have the power to create what we need or want, and we are fully able to accomplish this. That's probably the most important freaking section out of this tool. Because I know people get that twisted all the time. And I suppose it comes down to believe whether you really believe that we're all one at the end of the day. But assuming you even believe a fraction of that, I definitely feel like that's something that a lot of people need to pick up on. Okay, let's pretend that you need to. Let's pretend that you need your loved one in order to feel whole and comforted. One could argue that you are powerless because they could die and you'd be left at the mercy of that experience, which is torture. So the only lasting peace is to find wholeness and comfort in and of yourself alone. But to believe this, you would have to assume that you are in fact at the mercy of their presence and could not manifest someone or something else to feel whole and comforted by. It's the disbelief in your ability to create your own reality that is actually hurting you in this scenario, not the fact that you are dependent in general on something or someone other than yourself. In a world that is one, you can only ever be dependent on that which is you. And in a world that is one, you are dependent on everyone else, and they are dependent on you. This does not mean that you are powerless. We sometimes mistake dependence for powerlessness, most especially the powerlessness to create, but they are not the same thing. You cannot really become independent. To do so would be to separate yourself from the rest of the universe. Not only is this not wanted, but it is also not possible, because you are the universe, incarnated in the illusion of a separate physical body. What you can do is recognize your own magnificence as an unlimited creator within this universe. Next section, what can you depend on? Depend is not a bad word. Yet again, it's a beautiful concept that has been confused with a different concept that isn't so beautiful. I prefer the interpretation that to depend on is to become one. The world is so much more gentle and supportive than we realize or than we will let ourselves understand. Because we still feel so powerless to the world at large, we are trying to be a universe in and of ourselves. The ego has used the universal spiritual teachings as a tool of separation when it suggests that you are empowered to create your reality. The only people who resonate with teachings of personal empowerment that inspire independent, self-sufficient reality creation are those who have felt powerless to others, especially to other people who could not meet their needs. Those people had no choice but to turn to themselves. But that turning in is an intermediary step, a step toward empowerment. It's not all the way there. The next step is to recognize your complete dependence on you, and remember this you includes all the other beings in existence, because they are all you. This is an interdependent universe, because the most absolute truth of this universe is the truth of oneness. In summary, then, it's not your job to deny yourself 6 needs. Even the most enlightened being in existence has these same needs. The enlightened being has simply perfected the art of meeting those needs in healthy ways. Now it's your turn to determine how you are currently meeting those needs. It's your turn to replace the unhealthy ways with healthy ways that accomplish the same end, your needs being met. When you do this, you will no longer feel a sense of lack, and your relationships will be a source of joy instead of pain. And in your quest, remember that you cannot keep taking trips to the hardware store for milk. It's a self-created hell to try to make things change when they will not change, or to keep searching in the totally wrong places for the things you need. We cannot deprive ourselves and love ourselves at the same time, so make the choice to love yourself and acknowledge that you deserve to get whatever it is that you are wanting. Then let yourself go, find it in the places where it can be found. Alright, and that is the end of tool number 16, no more trips to the hardware store. That was a very long one. That was probably the longest one in this book. Whew. That was definitely a read. I'm not going to go through a recap because I did stop at the points that stuck out to me the most. So, if you know where those are, you can go back and recheck those out. But that's definitely a lot to take in. The 6 needs. Didn't even know there's a such thing as a 6 needs. I don't know if that's like something that's like taught in school. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize that was ever a thing. But now I know. So this is probably a tool that I'll go back and reflect on for sure, because there's just so much to take in. The next one is a little bit shorter. And like I said, I'm going to try and get to that one tomorrow night. And then the night after that, I'll do another one, and so on. So that's kind of the plan for this week, is just record like crazy. And then, yeah, we'll just be able to finish this up pretty soon and start another book. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Love to hear your thoughts. But until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.